recently picked up World of Illusions. This is, of course, the Japanese Mega Drive version. As we can see in the manual here, it's all in Japanese, and this is the wider Japanese cartridge. I'm going to play it on my JVC XI. This should work on any Genesis as long as you widen the cartridge slot for it to fit. Alright, as we can see here, so far, great looking game. This game came out in December of 1992 for the Japanese Mega Drive, European Mega Drive, and American Genesis. I just so happen to have the Japanese version, but like I said, it doesn't appear that this game has any region coding in it, so it should work in your Genesis as long as you widen the cartridge slot for it to fit. And here we have our first boss fight. Most of the bosses in this game are fairly easy, 6 or 7 hits and they're dead. Here we can see a little bit of the Japanese storyline. They do sort of give you some hints in between levels, but luckily it's not too hard to figure out without being able to read anything. And here we can see in this level we have a flying level, completely different style of gameplay. And that's the one thing I really love about this game, is there's a wide variety in the, levels and enemies. Like the other Illusions games and many of the Disney games on Sega, this game was developed and published by Sega themselves. As we can see here, we're playing as a Mickey Mouse, and our basic attack is using a magical cape. The controls are very similar to the other Illusion series games. B is your attack button, C is your jump button, and in this game, A is your run button. The controls are pretty good overall, but I do have one small complaint, and that is when you hold down and press C, which is your jump button, it makes Mickey Mouse crawl on the ground. Now, considering the A button is run, they really should have made it so that down and A is how you crouch, because the problem with that being on the C button is a lot of times you'll be pressing down and right at the same time, or left and right at the same time, without realizing you're pressing the down direction. And when you go to jump, instead of jumping, he ducks. So that's annoying once in a while. You can see another boss fight here. Once again, in this case, 6 bosses, 1 hit each, and we're done. And here we go. As we can see, the level changes again. Now we have an underwater level. In this level, we're actually in a bubble, and you have to repeatedly press the C button to levitate the bubble. So it's kind of one of those things where you have to, you know, maneuver around underwater. It's really not too hard. There's not too many obstacles or enemies in this level. And another transition into an underground ship, a sunken ship level. Now, this one's a little bit strange because it appears we're still underwater, and the enemies actually swim around as if you're underwater, but Mickey actually, you know, is jumping around as if we are not underwater. But that's just nitpicking, because this is a cool level too. Another boss fight here, fighting a shark. And another transition. Now we're out of the water, and I love that. You come out of the water with the fish and the castle in the background, and you come out of a fishbowl with that in it. That's just an attention to detail in the way that the levels, you know, the variety of the levels that I was talking about that I really love in this game. One thing I did not know about this game, the first few times I played through it, and actually while recording, which is really only one of the first few times that I played this game, is that you can also play as Donald Duck. Now that should have been apparent by the fact the game is called World of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. And yes, Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck are on the cover, but I just had no idea. I mean, obviously didn't look around in the options hard enough the first time playing it. You can pick to play as Donald Duck, and even cooler, and to my surprise, is there is a 2-player simultaneous mode where you play with Mickey and Donald at the same time, so that is pretty cool. Another transition into a different style of level. It took me a second here to figure out that I was actually controlling this, and so I got hit by the first star, or whatever that thing is we're supposed to be dodging. And one more boss fight. This one is... Actually, I found this one to be really easy. And once again, completely different variation in the level and the enemies. This one is sort of a Alice in Wonderland theme with playing card enemies. Overall, this is a great platforming game. As I've mentioned time and time again, I love these games for the variety. Here we get to see the game over screen, which is nice because I can show you the password system. You know, rather than having a big 30-digit long alphanumerical password, you have 4 playing cards for a password, so I thought that was a pretty neat password system. And there you go, great game. Check it out if you have a Genesis or Mega Drive.